Imagine planning the perfect wedding on your own property, only for a clipboard-wielding busybody to crash it like she's the sheriff of suburbia. But what if that meddler's power trip spirals into her own undoing, exposing a web of fraud that leaves her begging for mercy? In the sleepy cul-de-sacs of Willow Creek, a gated community on the outskirts of Atlanta, Georgia, where every mailbox matched and lawns were mowed to military precision, lived Alex Harper. At 32, Alex had scraped together his savings from years as a software developer to buy a sprawling colonial house with enough backyard to host intimate events. It wasn't just a home, it was his side hustle, a cozy venue for small weddings, baby showers, and neighborhood gatherings. The air smelled of fresh-cut grass and blooming azaleas. But beneath the facade of picket fence perfection lurked the iron fist of the Willow Creek Homeowners Association, ruled by none other than Marge Kensington, the self-anointed queen of compliance. Marge was in her mid-50s, with a perm that screamed "I manage the PTA," and a wardrobe of pastel cardigans that hid her razor-sharp ambition. As HOA president, she preached community harmony at every meeting, her voice dripping with faux sweetness. But everyone knew she enforced rules like a dictator in pearls. It's for the greater good, she'd coo, while fining folks for hanging Christmas lights a day too early. Alex had heard the whispers, how she'd once made a widow repaint her door because it clashed with the aesthetic, but he kept his head down. His property skirted the HOA's boundaries, zone mixed use. It was technically exempt from their nonsense. Or so he thought. The trouble brewed when Alex and his fiancée, Lena, decided to tie the knot right there in the backyard. They'd invited 80 guests, secured a county permit for the music, and even hired a valet to keep cars off the streets. It was going to be simple, vows under the old oak tree, string lights twinkling, and a buffet of southern barbecue. But on the eve of the rehearsal dinner, as guests mingled with glasses of sweet tea, a golf cart whirred up the driveway. Out stepped Marge, neon safety vest gleaming under the porch lights, clipboard in one hand and a walkie-talkie in the other, like she was directing traffic at a disaster zone. "This is unacceptable," she announced, her tone a perfect blend of concern and condescension, scanning the crowd as if they were trespassers at her own tea party. "Your little shindig is disrupting the peace. HOA bylaws clearly state no amplified sound after 7 p.m. Alex, wiping sauce from his hands, approached with a polite smile. "Marge, good to see you. But we're not in the HOA district. This is private property, zoned for events. We've got the permits right here." He pulled out a folder, but she waved it away like it was yesterday's newspaper. "Permits? Honey, that's cute. Your guests are breathing our air, parking near our curbs. I've already noted 3 violations: excessive lighting, potential litter, and, oh, is that a grill? Fire hazard." Lena, overhearing, stepped in with a forced grin. "We're using electric lights, and the grill's propane safe. Come on, Marge. Join us for a bite? The ribs are killer." Marge's eyes narrowed, her lips pursing into a thin line of disapproval. "I don't indulge in such frivolities. Expect a formal citation by morning. And if this farce proceeds, I'll ensure the authorities handle it." She spun on her heel, golf cart humming away, leaving the guests chuckling nervously. Alex muttered under his breath, "Who died and made her God?" But inside, he was already plotting, quietly, patiently. The wedding day dawned crisp and clear, the kind of Georgia spring morning where the humidity hadn't yet turned oppressive. Guests arrived in shuttles, the oak tree draped in white tulle, and a string quartet playing softly. Lena walked down the aisle in a flowing gown. Her eyes locked on Alex's. Vows were exchanged. Rings slipped on fingers. And just as the officiant pronounced them husband and wife, sirens wailed in the distance. 2 patrol cars pulled up at the curb. Lights flashing like a bad movie climax. Whispers rippled through the crowd as deputies approached. Radios crackling. Marge stood triumphantly at the property line. Arms folded. Her face a mask of righteous victory. Phone in hand as if she'd just summoned divine intervention. "Officers. Thank goodness you're here," she called out. Voice echoing with mock relief. "This unauthorized assembly is a menace, noise pollution. Traffic hazards. The works." Alex. Heart pounding but voice steady. Handed over the stack of documents. "Deputies. Everything's above board. County approved. No HOA oversight. She's just enthusiastic about rules." One deputy skimmed the papers. Then glanced at Marge. "Ma'am. This venue's not under your jurisdiction. You're on private land without invitation." Marge's confident smirk faltered. Her cheeks flushing pink. "But the bylaws. The community standards." The deputy sighed. Holstering his radio. "Standards don't trump the law. You're disrupting a permitted event. Time to go." As they escorted her back to her golf cart. Guests stifled giggles, one uncle even toasted with his champagne flute. To the HOA patrol, may they patrol elsewhere. Marge shot Alex a venomous glare. Muttering, "This isn't over. You'll regret ignoring the rules." Alex waved cheerfully. But his mind was racing. This wasn't a bluff, it was war. Weeks passed in deceptive calm. Alex and Lena honeymooned in the Smoky Mountains. Returning to a flurry of bookings, word of the HOA showdown had oddly boosted interest. "People love a rebel venue," Lena joked, as they landscaped the yard. But then the mail arrived, a thick envelope from the county zoning board. Stamped investigation notice. An anonymous complaint alleged illegal commercial operations. Forged permits. And environmental violations. Alex's stomach dropped. "This reeks of Marge." He stormed to the county office, where a clerk named Tina shuffled papers apologetically. "We have to investigate all tips. Mr. Harper. This one's detailed, photos. Timelines. Even a sworn statement." Flipping through. Alex saw snapshots of the wedding, the quartet mid-note. Buffet tables laden. All angled from sneaky spots like behind fences or through windows. "She's been spying? That's insane." Tina nodded. Filed by the Willow Creek HOA president. Claims it's to protect property values. Back home. Lena paced the kitchen. "She's not stopping at fines, she wants to shut us down. Draining our time. Our money." Alex booted up his computer. Eyes narrowing. "Fine. Let's see what skeletons she's hiding." He dove into public records, HOA minutes. Financials. Bylaws. Buried in the filings was a $12,000 transfer from reserves to enforcement initiatives, no vote recorded. Just a vague approval stamp from Marge. "This smells fishy," he said. Dialing his buddy Ryan. A paralegal. "If she's using dues for personal attacks, that's embezzlement." Ryan whistled. "Weaponizing funds? Yeah. That's fraud. File a records request, let's expose her playbook." Tension simmered as the zoning inspector scheduled a visit. Alex prepped obsessively, every receipt. Every approval. But Marge escalated. Her facade cracking into desperation. Neighbors whispered about her door-to-door campaigns, spreading rumors that Alex's venue was a noise factory lowering home values. "He's turning our paradise into a party zone," she'd say at coffee clatches, her voice laced with pious concern. One evening, Alex's new security cams pinged, midnight motion. Pulling up the feed, he spotted Marge slinking along the fence, flashlight bobbing, snapping pics of the shed like a wannabe detective. "Gotcha," he whispered. "Calling the cops." Deputies arrived to find her knee-deep in azaleas, folder bulging with prints, guest lists, altered maps, even a fake neighbor's signature on the complaint. The neighbor? A deceased resident from 3 years back. Marge's face twisted in outrage as they cuffed her. "This is for the community. You can't arrest me for upholding standards." The deputy deadpanned. "Standards don't include forgery." "Ma'am, that's a felony." Alex watched from the porch, a grim smile forming. Her mask was slipping, and it was gloriously pathetic. The fallout exploded like fireworks on the 4th. The county dropped the probe, issuing an apology with a side of restitution for Alex's troubles. But the real bombshell came from Ryan's records haul, emails showing Marge's inner circle, the treasurer and VP, greenlighting the surveillance fund. "Preemptive action to safeguard our enclave," one read, attaching an invoice for a shady PI. The DA's office swooped in, charging Marge with fraud, trespass, and identity theft. At the emergency HOA meeting, residents packed the community hall. Pitchforks metaphorical but vibes electric. The treasurer stammered, "I thought it was routine," while the VP backpedaled. Marge said it was legal, but the audit revealed $25,000 siphoned for initiatives, including bribes to a county clerk who'd since been fired. Marge, on the hot seat, blustered, "Everything I did was to protect our way of life. Without rules, we're chaos." A burly neighbor shot back, "Your rules fine my kid for a basketball hoop. You're the chaos." The board voted her out unanimously, applause thundering as she stormed off, pearls clutching like a lifeline. Alex, invited as a witness, leaned back, savoring the irony. Marge's power grab had united the very people she controlled. In the courtroom climax, evidence piled up like bad karma, forged docs, embezzled cash, even texts where Marge gloated, "He'll fold soon, nobody defies the HOA." The judge, stone-faced, revoked her bail after she tried hacking the HOA server from a library computer. "This isn't governance, it's gangsterism," he declared, slamming the gavel. Marge's plea deal? Probation, restitution, and a lifetime ban from HOA rolls. The association dissolved, reborn as a democratic co-op with transparent votes, no more secret slush funds. Residents, freed from her tyranny, flooded Alex's venue with bookings, a vet's flag-raising party, a single mom's baby shower. One evening, under the oak tree, Lena toasted with Alex. She thought she'd bury us in bureaucracy. Instead, she dug her own grave. Neighbors nodded, sharing stories of Marge's past absurdities, like banning bird feeders for attracting vermin. Laughter mixed with lingering anger, the air buzzing with hard-won relief. But the sweetest twist, months later, as Maple Hollow, renamed in a nod to resilience, thrived with packed calendars, a whistleblower envelope arrived. Old emails revealed Marge's decade-long scheme, quietly buying out parcels to expand her empire, with Alex's property as the crown jewel. She'd greased palms, faked petitions, all to flip it for profit. "Sunlight's the best disinfectant," Alex quipped, handing it to the new co-op. They published redacted versions online, sparking a statewide HOA reform push. Marge slunk away to a condo complex. Rumor had it, where her complaints fell on deaf ears. Alex and Lena hosted a free block party under the stars. String lights glowing. Kids chasing fireflies. As the music faded, Alex reflected, real community wasn't about rules, it was about trust earned, not enforced. So, was Marge the villain protecting order, or just a bully in sheep's clothing? You tell me, did Alex go too far in fighting back? Or was this karma at its finest?